I just think it was more of like he didn't want to accept it, so no, we didn't talk about it. I mean, my dad was a recovered alcoholic. Um, he had like, I don't know, like 15 years sober at the time, and so he knew that I had what he had, but he didn't really want to tell me that. He figured like, I won't bother him as long as he's just smoking weed. He was more in denial about it. He didn't want to believe that his son was using heroin at like 16, 17 years old. I was a wrestler in high school. I played football. Um, I was into music and stuff. I was never really good at any instruments, but I worked in high school. I worked at a restaurant. My dad owned a restaurant, and so that's kind of how I got introduced to like the drugs and stuff. Just working at the restaurant, being around people who use. Like the restaurant's a big industry for using drugs and alcohol. So that's just kind of how I was introduced to it. It was weed for a while, and weed and alcohol, and then like a few pills here and there. At work, like there'd be someone give them to me, like, um, and then like the heroin came around at work, and like I was offered that, and I didn't really turn it down. I was like, I thought it was just a part of living, like try all these things, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know a whole lot, I thought I was smarter than I actually was, you know what I mean? I was doing the pills with her, and then she said, "Oh, well, I'm getting heroin tonight," and like I was just like, "Oh, okay, I want to try that." Like I don't know if it was like trying to fit in or like what it was. I didn't. Looking back now, I don't know what I was thinking. It was just, I just did it, and I liked it, and in that point in my life, I was kind of like, I was doing a lot of stupid stuff anyway. You know, I wasn't like the model like teenager anyway. You know what I mean? So like I kind of like, it was natural for me to gravitate towards like something like that that makes you isolate from like normal society. I had a pretty shitty bottom. Like I was doing a lot of different drugs. It was the emotional bottom plus physical. Like I was just really drained, and I ended up getting picked up on some felony warrants, and I was taken to jail in St. Louis, and I ended up sitting in jail. I don't know, like 20 days, something like that, and I don't know, like something clicked in my head when I went to jail. I was like grateful to be in jail, because I was in a really bad spot. So I guess it was just more of like one of those things where you were just so beat up, you almost were willing to change just because you didn't want to keep living like that, and that's how it was, and so I fought to stay sober and did all these things that were suggested of me, and I'd say when I came towards like the end of the year, like of that clean time, I I quit doing all those things because I thought, well, maybe since I've stayed clean this long, I can go back out, like, or I can just do little things like drink or and it didn't work out. It's like 4 years later now, so I think I've been in treatment around like 26 times. The longest stretch I ever had was a year. Some of them were by family, some were by court. Most of them were by choice, trying to get my life together. But there's other influences, along the way, like not going to jail, getting my family's trust back. 4 years, it's been like just trying to like stay alive and just beat this thing or get through it somehow. It's hard for me to like find that hope for the future and the faith, that something's gonna work out for me, like in the good. But like when I want to get high, it's not hard for me to do that. You know what I mean? I think it's more of like it was like a mindset, and like I haven't really practiced it, this life thing where I was like, things are gonna work out, just stick it through, and then eventually stuff does work out, right? And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Changing, the change is the big thing. Like you got to be willing to change and take suggestions, and that's something like that. Like I've picked up a little bit, but I've always just kind of like done it my way, and my way's always ended up pretty bad. So I'd say like the biggest thing like to do in recovery is just to start making some small changes and, run with them.